We loved each other's work, and we had no shame in telling each other how genius each other's work was. And also how, you know, Robert especially, he would do something he really loved, and then he'd be really quiet, and then he'd look at me and say, "It's genius, isn't it?" But I looked at it and I really liked it, but it also made me feel one picture that I had accomplished something that day. And so I sort of fell into a rhythm of taking Polaroids, but Polaroids in relation to what I'd like to see. Very much like 19th century amateurs or old reviewers and things. You know, I had a certain aesthetic. And it was very satisfying to me to have these pictures to look at when I didn't have the energy to do anything else. And then when I started doing shows again at Robert Miller, the earlier ones really went back to language, to incorporate, you know, language and space with line and certain visual materials. And then I was asked to do a show at the Andy Warhol Museum in Pittsburgh. And John Smith came to where I was working to look at my work. And he was looking at my drawings, and I was starting to do silk screens and other kinds of work. But he saw my photographs, and he really liked them. And he encouraged me to do more. And he, long after we had the show, which was like this very nice show, which traveled, he kept encouraging me. And it was really having that, he's so intelligent and such a good eye, and having his, that kind of affirmation and that interest, I continued on. And, you know, really, the body of work that I've done since then, I really spent in the past 15 years especially, you know, I really credit him as a mentor, and I continued to show him my pictures and ask him what he thought, and then I started showing them, you know, more and more at the gallery.
A lot of those images also appear in books that you produced, so in Just Kids and of course in M-Train. And for me, the images are kind of like you're trying to negotiate the past. For me, that's what it is. There's always this idea of looking at memory, and you're looking at the past through the lens of the present, and it becomes almost like a filter, a moment to pause. And I wondered if the process of taking the pictures and the writing for you was interchangeable then, whether they fed each other, or whether they were distinct from each other. Because for me, the photos really also make those books for me completely what they are, because I feel that I'm actually inside your head when I read them.
Well, especially M-Train, thank you. M-Train was, a lot of it was written either sitting in a cafe or on the road. And when I'm on the road, again, it's such public life, and mostly I'm on the road in Europe. We're more of a European band than an American band. And we've been in many as, 60 cities in 70 days. And 60 cities in 60 different countries. And really, I mean, you could be in Greece, and then Spain, and then you're in Croatia, and all these countries. And I try to go off by myself, even just for an hour with my camera, and look at the architecture, statues, or it might be a grave of someone that I want to visit, and I have a moment of solitude and doing something on my own, because there's nothing more collaborative than rock and roll. I mean, you have your band, the technology, the people, your crew. I mean, you're nothing without them. So it's it's nice to steal away and my most, the self that I'm most comfortable with has her moment, to take a photograph of an angel or an old hotel or something. And, but I think it's not so, when I first started it, I don't think it's so much negotiating the past, it's being able to, well, I think it's past and present. Sorry, I'm about to go off into a real abstract sphere. I'm going to stop myself right now. No. You don't want to go off on it. My whole book is filled with them. So, but the pictures in a certain way, especially in that train, I look at them almost like prosthetic evidence, because I go, all these wondrous things happen, I go to all these wonderful places, and they're like evidence that I did see this. I did see the stuffed bear in Tolstoy's house in Moscow that used to hold the calling cards of his visitors. And I did go to Dag Hammarskjöld's grave, and I did do these things. But also, they have a slightly, I'm not Catholic, but I think I have they have a Catholic resonance in that they're like relics, and they have this thing in Catholicism, I might have it a little wrong, but they have different things of, like a saint. First, the first stage relic, it has to be a piece of the saint, a bone or a piece of hair or something. And then maybe the second state is something that touched the saint, and then the third is something that touched the thing that touched the saint. Well, mine is sort of fourth, but they're relics of these places that, that I said in that train, they form my Polaroid rosary. And I make a lot of pilgrimages, and sometimes with very excruciating travel. But, I had to sort of get my way into the Bulgarian embassy in Vienna to photograph the radiator that Wittgenstein designed for his sister. It's torture. But I have the evidence that I did it. I have the photograph of Wittgenstein's radiator. And I did some very intense travel to visit Sylvia Plath's grave. And so I go to these places and I have such nice experiences with these things. And it's a way to share that experience with people.
I have to go this way because you kept on mentioning the word forensic and evidence. And I've heard that you have an interest in particular detective TV shows. Is that true?
It's more than true. It's my life. Tonight George Jeffrey's on, and I hope I don't miss it. No, I love my shows. And in the 60s and 70s, Robert and I never had a TV. I never had a TV in the 70s. In the 80s, my husband had a TV, and I tried not to look at it. But I did succumb a little. And then in the 90s, I didn't have a TV again. But then when I went back on the road, I spent so much time. You spend so much time alone in your hotel room, and I don't drink or anything like that. You're all like, you got all this energy, and you go in your hotel and you're by yourself and you can't sleep. So I started watching TV, and I started getting hooked on the Law and Order shows. I had never seen them before, but they were all in foreign languages. I saw, the Law and Order Criminal Intent in Polish and German. And so I could sort of parse out, what the idea was. So then I decided when I was home and not on the road that I missed my detective show, so I got me a little TV. In fact, my TV is so small, my son says it's illegal as a TV. It's about this big, it's right near my bed. And now I'm like, yeah, I have a lot of TV shows I love, especially the British shows are really great.
Did you ever watch
London Spy is awesome.
Did you ever watch Taggart?
What, Taggart?
Oh, you should.
I don't know that one.
It's a Scottish one.
Oh no, I have. Who does it?
ITV.
I watch everything on TV. No, I've only seen it a couple of times, but yeah, I love it.
It's a big joke. Like if you're a Scottish person, I'm raised in Scotland, and people see you, they say, "Oh, I heard this, but I'm not like."
Well, I mean, look, David Tennant. Are you kidding me? I'm so in love with him. I sent so many hints when I was performing in London. I was trying to get David Tennant to like call me up or something. But no, I love my detective shows. There's a homage to Detective Linden and Killing, and it's not in the book because I finished the book, but I was mourning the fact that they canceled it, and then the book came out, and then they got 6 more episodes, and I had written them so many fan letters that they invited me to come to Vancouver to watch, and then they invited me to do a cameo, and I got to play Ann Morrison, brain surgeon. In that episode of Killing. I did. It's unbelievable. My life is unbelievable. I might not have a boyfriend, but I do own Detective Linden's Fair Isle sweater.
Last question on TV.
Sorry.
No, did you watch The Good Wife as well?
I did watch The Good Wife, and I stopped watching it lately. I don't know why something happened, but I watched it, yeah.
She's a strong woman,
But I
mother.
Well, I really like Julia, and I like her as a person. She's an awesome girl. So,
And also Chicago is, an interesting context, I think. As someone who has recently relocated there, I often say she's the reason.
well, I was born in Chicago.
I know, exactly. Another reason why I'm happy to be there. So, on to the specifics of this particular exhibition, 18 Stations, which emerges from the context of the book. Can you walk us through